So I'm gonna tell you off the bat right now, this is not for the pew boys and girls. This is for the nerds and the creatives and the creative nerds. If that ain't you, I just had to get you on the next one, boss. So one of the coolest things about Star Citizen is they always adding in new stuff, right? Some people don't like that. They be like, yo, finish the game, bro. This is finishing the game. Anywho, so it's always cool when they surprise you with new stuff or hint at new stuff. Like if you got the blurb on the newspaper loading screen, it hints at the L-21 Wolf, which they showed here first and then dropped into the verse. Even cooler when they surprise you with a new creature. First, we had the Copians, then I think it was the pterodactyl-looking birds called Merricks, then the space cows, aka quasi-grazers, then the Velakar sandworms of the juvenile, adult, and apex predator variety. So it's always like, what's next? What they got cooking up now? What kind of bioscience creature about to run out the gate this time? If you paid attention to the newspaper joints that they put at the loading screen, I love those things, by the way, keep them coming. It says, annual flat cat grooming contest draws record crowd. Flat cat, huh? Flat cat. Well, what the hell does that look like, right? And so, had to look that up. You go to Galactopedia, there's a flat cat. No picture though. I want pictures with my words, man. But they got a description though. Small carnivorous animal indigenous to Campos Ellis-4. And it's pretty interesting because it's not a house cat. It's not something that was domesticated down from a big cat to a little pet that walks across a keyboard and knocks glass off of the shelves. Anywho, because it evolved in a high gravity world, the flat cat has a wide, squat body and stocky, muscular legs. A social animal, it lives in groups of between 2 and 40 individuals in its natural habitat. During dawn and dusk, when they're most active, flat cats hunt together, sometimes taking down prey much larger than themselves. Their resemblance to the domestic cat endeared them to the people of the United Empire of Earth and sparked a trend for pet flat cats in the early 30th century that proved short-lived when their natural strength and tendency to scent mark surfaces showed that they were not suited for indoor living. However, the animal still has some enthusiasts, and there are multiple breeding programs on Campos dedicated to creating a true domestic flat cat. You know these people with their cats, man. These cat people. They gotta make everything a pet, man. I'm just kidding. I love y'all. You just need to invest in some lint rollers, though. So I got interested, man. I had to take a look around, see what this thing could possibly look like. So I found the creature matrix that they showed at CitizenCon, last CitizenCon. And there's a bunch of creatures on there. So, it was kind of a hunt, kind of a Where's Waldo kind of thing, trying to find out which one fits the description that they show. And I figured this is the one. This one right here. But it's not too detailed. It gives you an idea of what it might look like. Now, I wasn't 100% sure that this is the one, and I would have liked to have passed it around with my buddies and got some feedback, but, we nerdy in different ways. They nerdy with their thing, I'm nerdy with mine. We got different nerd appeal. So I went to holler at some AI, see if I can get some help there. Gotta use your resources, people. And if you use ChatGPT, there's a good chance that it's gonna agree with you, but based on what it said, I'm inclined to be confirmation biased. But at least it presents its points. Squat muscular build with a wide stance, matches the description. Legs appear sturdy, suited for a high G environment. Pointed ears and feline-like posture reflect a described resemblance to a domestic house cat. And the tail adds to the feline silhouette while still looking more robust than a typical cat, suggesting adaptation to a harsher environment. So some compelling reasons. But it's worth looking at the other ones. There's this one. Maybe. Who knows? I think it's this one. But the intensity to no more increases, my friend. So I had it mock me up a little something based on the sketch, the description, and CIG's art style, but it looked like they just threw that one out the window, as you will see. And this is what it comes up with. This is just a buff-ass cat, man. I know they're supposed to resemble cats, but this is a Cali muscle milk fed house cat that shakes creatine in his popcorn, right? No, with ChatGPT, it's always an exchange. You got to iterate your way to the desired result. Got to refine a little bit. So I'm like, yeah, I think the face looks a little too much like a terrestrial cat. How would you describe the head and face in this image compared to a terrestrial cat? So I'm trying to get it to think a bit. Anyway, we go back and forth and I have it do another render. And then it gives me a Mewtwo. It comes up with a Pokemon, man. In some ways, it's a little bit more on point, but in other ways, not so much, man. It's worse. At best, we making lateral moves here, if not actually going backwards. So we're gonna have to knock it up a notch. Because I really want to see what we possibly looking at, what we might encounter and throw double dog crumbs at. So I go to Sora. I've enlisted his help in the past, it's useful. Same thing, I put up the picture, describe it, but then it gives me these And then it gives me these two chihuahua looking animals, right? Little fragile chihuahua meerkat abominations. Faces all wrong. The body's skinny. That's red flag number 1 right there. High G planet, remember? But you know, you got to give these things all the information. And I guess I didn't. I just told her to base it off the image. It didn't have all the little details to define what this thing is. But then I peppered it up with the description from the Galactopedia. Short, stocky, wide, grew up on a high G planet, baby. Now it's armed with better information, and it does better this time. Got the gray one with the less pronounced mouth and lips. Looks like some you find in the wild. And you got this brown one. I like this one too. Not quite as realistic looking as the gray one, but good start. But they're still not quite right. Still looking a little bit like dogs. And I feel like I'm gonna be here all day if I try to talk my way into the perfect picture. So we need a new solution. And instead of trying to describe these things, we got a good base going. And we didn't skip every class in Photoshop, so let's see if we can't put it there and knock it up another notch. All right, now, if you take a look at the sketch, you can see that their eyes are kind of up on his head toward his ears, kind of centered toward the middle of his head horizontally a bit. Eyes that are more like a predator rather than prey. They don't need them chicken and rabbit eyes that can see 360 degrees around their head, like my buddy SFC. I mean, they didn't say explicitly that these things are predators and not prey, but I mean, this thing is cock diesel, man. This thing is brolic. Look at the definition in them legs, man. All right, we gotta adjust the muzzle, because the muzzle's not quite right. This looks more like a dog or a fox or something like that. So I needed to push that thing back more like the sketch. Stiff upper lip. So this thing's actually starting to look right. It's starting to look more like the sketch. So Photoshop's working out. But there's still something missing, and it kind of bothers you till you figure out what it is. Sketch has this separation between the top of his body and the lower portion. I mean, it's just made with a line, but they distinctly put that line there. There's a difference between his back and the bottom of his body. And it looks like it could be lighter, like you notice all the shading in the legs. I mean, that's possibly just showing the muscle definition, but who knows, man? I don't draw. I don't know what the intentions of these things are. So I'm gonna go with the best thing I know how to do. We're gonna make that top lighter. And so that's what we do. It's looking good. This is looking legit. I think this is a good likeness of what we could possibly see just based on the sketch. You never know. CIG could go a whole other direction. But based on what they've shown us, I think this is a good spec. And I put it in Area 18 specifically because citizens have tried to domesticate this thing in the past. They didn't make good pets. Now they're trying to do it again. So annual flat cat grooming contest draws record crowds. Hey, folk, they bring these things in the city for show. Enthusiasts believe the Earth's surging attendance signals that the UEE has entered another flat cat craze, right? So this is something that might be roaming around the streets of Area 18 and Babbage and Orison and I don't know about Louisville. The conditions there ain't good for nobody, man. They're making it so hard on the people. The people might have to eat them things over there. So yeah, Area 18, just roaming the streets. And I hope you do see them in the cities and around populated places just to add more life, because it like just the addition of the Copians and the space cows, Merricks. I haven't seen the rats. I've seen them in the videos. I haven't seen the little buff ass rats. But that does, it breathes more life into the verse, right? Than just people shooting at people or just animals biting people shooting at people. Or running. Like, have you ever tried to catch one of them pterodactyl looking I cannot believe I forgot their name, but whatever. Merricks. You know what the hell I'm talking about. You know, they run. They be out of there. The Quasis, they chill. You can go up to them. They need to pet that cow button. They ain't got that yet, CIG. What you waiting on for that? You can go steal their eggs, but you can't pet that cow. And that kind of brings me to another point. I saw my buddy Rico just laughing, shooting space cows, which was a little disturbing for your boy. It's just not my style, man. And I'm thinking about this house cat looking thing roaming around in the wild where people can shoot them. People gonna be shooting them, man. That is gonna be a little bit of the ick for me, man. Please don't put them as Wicklow harvestables. That's enough with that. I don't want to stack up a pile of dead cats, right? That is horrible, man. It's bad enough with the space cows and the Copians. The Copians, nobody mind taking out with extreme prejudice, because, you know, if you don't, they're gonna take chunks out your ass. Just let the flat cat live and let people fail to domesticate it. I don't know why they're trying to domesticate a cat that has a tendency to just spray down your house. I don't know. Some people just don't notice the cat smell. You know, those are the kind of people that will have these cats. Yeah, just let the flat cat be. Let the little fragile dude that like to take out his frustrations on animals get pinned down by their muscular legs. What will do about my legs, Charlie Murphy? But anywho, just want to take you on a quick trip of trying to figure out what this thing's gonna look like once we get it in the verse. Till the next time, fly dirty, citizen.